Hey, what's going on, Black people? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. This is a place where we have intelligent conversations about all kinds of things happening in the Black community. And if you're not Black and intelligent, you may want to kindly get the hell out of here because this is not the place for you. We're also B1. B1 means that we are Black first. Black first means that we put our community at the top of the priority list. B1 means that we love ourselves and we solve our own problems. B1 means that we believe Black children can be number one when it comes to wealth building and education within the next 50 years. B1 also means we understand we must be one to be successful. So if you agree with that philosophy, put a B1 in the chat. Let me know that you're feeling it this morning, that you're feeling mighty Black today and feeling Black and intelligent. And you ain't got to be intelligent to be here, but I want you to have the desire to gain intelligence. That's really important. So good morning, Sharice and Tody and Shannon, Sunkissed, Cell Tool, Shalonda, Michael Wall, Fahima, Max Jerome. I see you in there, brother. Greg Artie. I see so many of you in here, and God bless all of you. And I'm so happy to see you. And I just like it. I like it when I'm with my people. And I ain't gonna lie. I wish I could say all people who look like me are my people, but the truth is that we got to protect ourselves from enemies, both foreign and domestic. We got the white supremacists who thinks they're better than us, and they have no place in here. And then you got the Negro naysayer. You know, the Negro naysayer finds a problem for every solution. The Negro naysayer, they hate Black love. They hate Black intelligence. They hate Black women. They hate positive things in the Black community. And you have to forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgive them, for they know not what they do, because unfortunately, many of them were raised in the middle of so much poison that they think that if you ain't poisoned and toxic, then you ain't Black enough. That you ain't Black. You ain't being Black. You ain't if your mama wasn't smoking crack and you didn't get 8 relatives shot this week, and you ain't got a dysfunctional family, so you ain't really Black. You ain't being traumatized every single day, so you ain't Black. You love these hoes. You ain't Black. You supposed to be pimping on these hoes. It's just all this crazy stuff that I hear. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I swear sometimes when I look around the world, I say, oh my God, yeah, we need to stop watching BET. We need to stop taking in this crap on the radio. We need to stop letting rappers give us our culture. Because I told you guys just yesterday how hip hop is a death culture. And if you don't believe me, listen to how often they talk about. Think about this: you got Black men being paid by white companies to go in front of 100,000 white people and brag about killing Black people, and the white people start cheering. If that does not seem like a weird type of dysfunction to you, then I don't know what to do with you. This is not the place for you. So anyway, let me get to the topic at hand. I like to set the tone for the conversation to let you guys know where I'm coming from. So Chrissy Teigen, how many of you know Chrissy Teigen? Give me a yes or no if you know who Chrissy Teigen is. Chrissy Teigen is the wife of John Legend. Very pretty lady. Very pretty lady. Seems pretty smart. Chrissy Teigen is she has a cookbook. She has a cookbook. I guess it's like she's like Steph Curry's wife, where there's like this league of like elite, like high yellow women that are married to high yellow men that make cookbooks and stuff. And but I can't talk. My wife is high yellow, but then again, she's Black as hell, right? Just because you're light skinned don't mean you're not Black. It just means you get light skin privilege, and we talk about that a lot. And I tell her, I said, babe, the reason you kept your job in academia and I got fired is partly because you're light skinned Black woman. They trust you, and she agrees. She'll acknowledge that in a second. But I love it though. We have an inside outside, good cop, bad cop relationship with white people. She goes in and they get real comfortable around her and they tell her all the things they won't say around my Black butt. And then I'm working on the outside and I built my business and life is good and I'm able to supplement the family in that way. So it works out. Teamwork is great. So Chrissy is a great teammate with her husband, John. Is she white? She's white. She's not white. She's not. Ramonia says she's white. She does not look white. But you know what? Maybe she's not. She's Asian. Oh, didn't know that. Didn't know that. Thank you for clearing that up. You've educated me today. I really thought that she was Black, but okay. Let me see. I'm gonna Google it actually, because now y'all got me curious. I believe you. Not that I don't believe you, but I figure it'd be good to just kind of look things up, because as you know from some of the videos that people have done about me, there are plenty of people who will talk about things without doing their research. So there are people that will say crazy things about my life, ain't never met me, don't know nothing about me, but people think because somebody said it on the internet, it must be true. But let me see here. Is Chrissy? I bet it'll auto complete in Google, because I bet a lot of people have asked it. Yeah, look, is Chrissy Teigen white? Let me see. Okay, is she white? Let me see what it says here. I'm gonna get some specifics. She was born to a Thai mother and American father. Her American-born father is of Norwegian descent. Okay, that's pretty white. Okay, so she's a white lady, a white Asian. So she's Caucasian. No, she's not even. So she doesn't get the BL because that's black. She's Caucasian. Okay, so she's Caucasian, and Chrissy Teigen is getting a lot of attention because she's basically been, I guess, shouted out pretty negative way for being what many think is a cyberbully. I was reading an article about Chrissy today, and it was really interesting to see that she is getting her butt kicked on social media by a lot of people who feel that she was just being mean, just kind of being a bully, and that she's in what she calls the cancel club. And she put out this post on Huffington Post, and I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about Chrissy right now, or in a minute. I'm not just here to gossip about her life. There's actually a broader lesson here and a broader set of thoughts I want to share with other intelligent Black people. So just bear with me, and I'll explain why Chrissy's the topic of the conversation today. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Hit the thumbs up button if you could. So it says Chrissy Teigen says she felt lost ever since she was exiled from the very platform that made her famous. The 35-year-old model published an Instagram post Wednesday, which features a photo of her legs adorned in a pair of comfy, loose-fitting pants while she lounges on a couch. In the caption, Teigen opened up about her mental state and possible loss of identity since she received a deluge of backlash for resurfaced tweets that revealed some very bad online behavior on her part. The cookbook author said in a candid caption that, quote, it feels so weird to pretend nothing happened in this online world, end quote, while she feels, quote unquote, like utter shit in real life. Quote, going outside sucks and doesn't feel right. Being at home alone with my mind makes me depressed, head race. But I do know that however I'm handling this right now isn't the answer. Um, okay, so it sounds to me like she's kind of let the online stuff really get to her. And I didn't know much about Chrissy Teigen's online stuff. I don't follow her, but I saw that she has, I could have swore it was 35 million on Instagram. Her Instagram has 35 million followers, 34.9 million. And I thought that was really interesting. And I talked to my wife about this kind of stuff a lot, because she's a full professor of social work and an expert on the brain and the subconscious mind and human behavior. And so she, as a therapist, she's a licensed therapist too, right? And one of the things that she's talked a lot about, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up to you guys, is that social media can generate a lot of depression. There are a lot of people who experience depression because of social media addictions, and I think I know some of the science behind this, because I've read up on it. And one of the reasons that there is that these addictions are formed and the depression comes with it is for the same reason that crackheads or people who use cocaine get depressed when they're not using their coke. Cocaine, from what I understand, I'm not an expert on this, but it releases dopamine to the brain. Dopamine is the feel good chemical. That's what makes you feel good. Um, and then when the high wears off, you go to a deeper low than other people go to, and also you've lost that ability to generate dopamine naturally, like just from the things that make regular people happy. So the the rush of all these feel good vibes that's artificially created, through something like having 35 million social media followers tell you that you're pretty, and put a lot of likes and hearts on your comments. That's the kind of thing that can actually put you in a really bad place, because you need that high in order to feel good. If you don't get that high, then things are boring and life is not that great. Now, here's one thing that Sultan is mentioning, something about tweets that were pedophilic. Um, I got to look that up. I got to research that. I do remember seeing something about that, so I'm not ignoring what you said. I just haven't seen those in detail, and I want to make sure that it is. I want to make sure that it's legit, right? Because I know what it feels like to be falsely accused of things. Like I swear, when Alicia and I got married and we shared that with people, a lot of people were so happy for you. 99% of you were happy, but then there's like this growing rage of really unhappy people who decided to like make all these things up about our wedding that weren't true. And these things have real effects. So, like I really had to talk to Willie D about it, about the fact that people saw a picture of all three of us. Willie D's my buddy, like he was in the wedding, and we took a picture, and Alicia's feet were closer to his feet than mine. And people suddenly, Kwame Brown goes and does a video saying, "Well, I know. Look at this. She really wants to be with Willie D." Now, the thing is, as a man, I'm going to step forward and say, okay, if you're going to talk about me, you should talk to me, right? People who talk about you but refuse to talk to you, that's kind of cowardly to me. That's kind of weird to me, right? And if you were to talk to me, you would know that you don't know what you're talking about. Like you've never ever met me, you've never met my wife, you don't even know Willie, so you're online just speculating and making things up. So one of the things that does happen on the internet is, and it comes with the territory, it's life, right? It's life. The more relevant you are, the more people are paying attention to you, the more people are just going to say shit that just don't make no goddamn sense. But you get it, right? Because you have a lot of people that live off their YouTube channel. They need to get views, right? So if your name is relevant, then people will put your name in a video and it'll get them views and it allows them to make money from the viewership, and they'll say anything to get those views, right? So what I would say is that when you talk about Chrissy Teigen, um, I don't want. I'm gonna go research that, and if I see some stuff there, I'll talk. I wouldn't mind talking about it, but at the same time, my goal wasn't really to talk about the nature of her tweets. It was really to talk about social media depression. And one thing, Aleem Johnson, that I'm going to say to you is when you're talking about, so Aleem is saying that this channel seems to become a gossip channel, less about building wealth. Well, first of all, this is my Dr. Boyce TV is not a wealth building channel. It's a black channel. I want to make sure you understand. I'm not a finance professor who just happens to be a black guy. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So anything that affects the mental health and the condition of black people is on my radar screen. And the reason that this is important is because, Aline, if you only focus on the wealth and don't focus on the health, then you're going to miss everything about the wealth. Because people who ignore their health and chase wealth end up losing their wealth to regain their health, right? You work yourself into a ground, you work yourself into an early grave, you work so hard at your job every day that you try to build all this wealth, but then next thing you know, you got these health issues that come from the fact that you didn't have balance in your life. So next thing you know, you're paying all your money to doctors in order to bring yourself back. The easiest way to go bankrupt actually is through medical expenses. Did you guys know that? I don't know if y'all knew that, but there's two things people can't afford in America. That's to get sick or to get an education. Those are two things that will put you in the poorhouse. That's why so many members of the black middle class are gonna die in debt. I'm talking about educated black people with master's degrees from Harvard are gonna die in debt because the student loan problem is so bad. Half of all black college graduates default on their student loans. That's bad credit. That's no wealth building. That means you're kind of out of the game in so many ways. So if you can't see the whole picture, it's like playing basketball. If I play basketball and all I know how to do is shoot, but I don't understand anything about defense, I understand nothing about rebounding, I don't see the importance of dribbling well, I don't see the importance of spacing, then I will never get a chance to shoot. I'm never going to score any points, right? So I want to make sure you guys understand this. And that's why I say this platform is for intelligent black people, because I'm going to talk to you at a level that doesn't insult your intelligence. I want to talk to you guys at a level where I'm going to challenge your thinking. Sometimes I might talk in a way where you're like, wait, I don't understand what he just said. Well, go back and think about it. Play that section again. I am a legit college professor and not just an average one. I've had a PhD for over 20 years. So I'm much, 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 much smarter than I was when I got my doctorate. So I'm going to say things that are going to seem like they're from outer space. But if you think about it long enough, sometimes you got to think about it for 5 years, and then you'll come back and say, okay, now I get what he was trying to say. You may not agree with it, but you'll understand it. Okay. So I want to make sure you guys get the nature of these discussions. I ain't here just to talk to you about your 401k and your IRA. That's what the Black Business School is for. If you want to go talk specifically about wealth all day and money and everything else, go join us or join the Black Stock Market Program every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. All we do is talk stocks and wealth. That's it. We don't talk about anything outside of that. And I meet my students every Tuesday at 11. The first month is free. The cost is literally about 1/1000th of what my students paid to learn from me at Syracuse University. So if you are truly interested in wealth, go invest in yourself. Put a couple dollars behind your own education and learn everything that we have for you. There's a 5-year curriculum right there for you. So feel free to go take a look. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. All right. So let's see. Let's get back on to Chrissy Teigen again. When you talk about Chrissy Teigen, one of the things the reason I wanted to address this is because, with social media and cancel culture are kind of strange, right? Cancel culture is this thing where people are, I guess, empowered, because everybody has a voice. Everybody can say anything. Anybody can get outraged about whatever they want to get outraged about. They can, do what they want to do to each other. And sometimes it gets messy. Sometimes it gets kind of crazy. And Chrissy is interesting because Chrissy is feeling the other side of cancel culture. Because remember, for a long time, Chrissy was on the side of the mob. Chrissy was the leader of the mob. Chrissy was the person who would go and get mad at somebody and just go ham on them. And that's what she's been, um, that's what she's done for many years. She's done that, for over a decade. And the cool thing is it feels good when you're doing it, right? You feel like you're like fight the power to the people, stuff like that. The problem sometimes with the cancel culture is that it comes without a sense of logic or compassion sometimes. Sometimes lynch mobs, get carried away to the point where there is no room for rational discussion or even dissenting points of view. And I'm not a fan of any of that, in the sense that, when people start getting stupid, I walk out the room. Like, I'm sorry, when everybody's like thinking the same thing and thinking in group think, I can identify it very quickly, because I've been on both sides of it. I've been on the side where, for example, somebody gets shot by a cop and nobody takes a fucking second to go find out what actually happened. Everybody assumes that because the victim was black and the cop was white, that it must be racism, right? I'm not that guy. Sometimes I'll just sit there silently and I'll go research. And because I know some really good black people in the world, and I know some really bad black people in the world. I have had friends murdered by really bad black people. My homeboy Greg Wilkins in Louisville, Kentucky, got murdered just a few blocks from Breonna Taylor's house years ago, and to this day, I have a close relationship with his daughter, who's now an adult, and it breaks my heart that I have to take my homeboy's place as her surrogate dad, because I know what kind of a hole it left in that little baby's heart when her father got shot in the head right in front of her. Right, that was my best friend, my best buddy. And so my point, the reason I bring up Greg, is not just to remember my friend, but to also say that you can't sit here and pretend like there are not some people in our community that are very harmful to other black people. And so this idea that somehow because of a black man got shot, that he must have just been, completely innocent, sitting there walking down the street, twiddling his thumbs, doing nothing to hurt anybody. I don't make that assumption. I'm sorry. I'm too much of a realist. I can't make myself dumb enough to assume that all black people are always good and all white people are always evil. I can't think that way. So when a shooting happens, I do my research. I don't run with the mob. I sit back, I sit in the cut, I don't say a word, and I go look it up. And when there's situations where there was a person who was threatening the life of another person, I'm not going to name any specific cases. You guys can fill in the blanks if you want to. But if there's a situation where I see a black person that was about to go and kill a black man, and he happened to get popped by a cop before he could go murder that black man, or a guy who was on his way to go and beat his wife and threaten to kill her or whatever, or whatever, like if in those situations, I don't treat that the same as situations where the victim was innocent. That every situation ain't Tamir Rice, and so ultimately, this mob mentality, it's stupid, it's unhealthy, it is very destructive, and ultimately chickens come home to roost.
It's like the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement got to the point where it went from being this righteous concern for um, so many individuals, mostly women, who are victims of sexual assault, to this bitch wine fest where every white woman who was ever pissed off at her ex boyfriend could go falsely accuse him of only God knows what, and acted like a guy asking her out on a date is the same as rape. Like that, they created this term called rape culture to say like, well, you're not really a rapist, but you told a woman that she looked good in her dress and it made her uncomfortable. It was an inconvenience for her. So you're just like the rapist. It's like, no, you're not. That's ridiculous. That's crazy to me. So I personally think that cancel culture is starting to be ignored. I cancel. I've had people try to cancel me, and I'm kind of laugh. I'm like, well, you can. I guess if I was somebody's employee, that was another conspiracy theory I saw. People thought that there was an Asian guy I worked with years ago named Charles Wu, and people somehow concluded that because I worked with a person who wasn't black, that that person must be, oh, he must be the real boss, because we know a black person can't really be leading all this, because we know black people can't really lead nothing. Black people can't do nothing for themselves, so the Asian guy must really be the boss. And I, so I thought that was pretty hilarious. But the thing was, you can't really, it's hard to really cancel somebody who writes their own check, right? And it's hard to cancel somebody who doesn't back down from, or who doesn't have any fear of this, the rumor mills that start, because a lot of what cancel culture really is cancel culture doesn't typically have real consequences unless you work for somebody. Like if you're an employee at Wendy's or something, they can get you fired from Wendy's, right? They can cyberbully you into losing your job at Wendy's and whatever. But if you are a person who understands the game, then cancel culture doesn't work, because what cancel culture really is this. Um, it consists of a lot of people who make snarky, witty, funny comments on the internet, and their goal is to shame you into oblivion, right? So if I make a comment about you that is funny, and 800,000 people like it, and they all say, "Yeah, girl, that's right. You tell them." Right? Then somehow you'll feel embarrassed, and because you're not one of the cool kids anymore, and you'll just sort of be eliminated from the space of popular people, right? And so best way I've always dealt with cancel culture is when I first became public, which was 25 years ago, actually, a long time ago, when I was writing articles on race and stuff at the University of Kentucky. I let go of any desire to be popular. In fact, the more popular I get, the more uncomfortable I become. Like when I hit 300,000 followers on Instagram, I immediately was telling people, please unfollow me if you can't handle the truth. If you don't want to hear positive blackness and intelligent blackness and all the things that we visualize for the community, then get the fuck out. Like, I don't want you here, because popularity is sucker's gold. Popularity sucker's gold, because what it does is it fills you up. It boosts your ego, because you get all these people watching. Like Mark says, Kwame canceled you both. Boys said, well, if Kwame canceled me, then I wouldn't be here. So clearly I'm not canceled, because you can't cancel somebody with just talking. You can't do that, right? Kwame's popular, sure, yeah. A bunch of dumb motherfuckers love what he says, and I think that's fine. That's great. Good for him. I hope that fulfills whatever was zapped out of your ego when Michael Jordan bullied you for 20 years because you sucked at basketball, right? Like, I really hope that helps fill the void in your soul that likely came, that's maybe causing the liquor and whatever else you're consuming in your body to deal with your depression. I hope that makes you feel better, because I told you the dopamine from social media is very real. It's very real, right? So some people who have zero relevance in any other area of their life, they get to the internet and they find, oh my God, look at this. I'm one of the popular kids. I've got 50,000 followers on my YouTube channel. Everyone likes me. I put up a post and I got 1,000 likes on my post. Everybody thinks I'm great, right? And that's what they live off of. And then when you take that away, man, they have a void in their soul, a hole in their heart. So what I would say to anybody who's kind of watching how what Chrissy's feeling, and I feel bad about what she's feeling right now. And by the way, Max, don't keep talking about Kwame because you're gonna get me distracted. Because I don't even want to even address that no more. Because that's ignorant shit. I don't. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to move forward in life right now. But but just for the record, there's never been a person on the internet who scared me with words. Just so you know, like I told you, a lot of people that will talk about you but never talk to you. That says that they're afraid of you. So I have no fear of people who have a fear of me. So people who are afraid to talk to me when we'll talk about me and make things up are people that I don't respect. So that's it. And where I grow up, and men, if you're a man and you talk about another man, and that man says, "Hey, why don't you say that to my face?" Then you say it to his face. If you're scared to say it to his face, then to me that means you just, it's just kind of a bitchy fest. So anyway, let me see here. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for your donation, brother. Wellness matters. Keep living out your purpose. I hope one day brothers like yourself and KB, I think he's talking about Kwame Brown, can see past your differences and we can all work together to make the black community strong. I hope so too. I extended that olive branch, but then again, honestly, I have to say I took some of it back because the internet is a place where you've got people that just want to talk, and then you've got people that want to get things done, right? You got people that want to fight and divide, and then you got people that want to unify. Um, I personally like to think that my goal is to unify or to at least find some common ground so that we don't end up, bumping into each other constantly. But some people aren't there. Some people, or maybe they're competing with you and you're not even competing with them. A lot of times, what the way people react to you is not a reflection of you. We take things personally, like oh, he doesn't like me, right? But really, a lot of people that seem to be fighting with the world are usually fighting with themselves. So if you see somebody on the internet that's constantly attacking different people over and over and over again, it's because deep down they're feeling something inside their soul that they're fighting against. They're really fighting themselves, right? So people like that are hard to work with because they're always going to find a reason to fight you, right? They're always going to deliberately misinterpret everything you say because they're hypersensitive and they want to fight, right? And I don't like black people that just want to fight. I like black people that want to build, right? And unfortunately, that's not as popular as wanting to fight. So that's why I'll never be the most popular guy in the room, nor do I want to be. I only want to be popular with about 10 to 15% of the black community because my job is to mobilize you and make you less afraid to go out into the world and stand your ground, stand up for what you believe in. Build, you need to raise your damn kids different from the way these other people are raising their kids. You need to do right by your family in a way that's different from the way other people deal with their family. You got men out here that abandon their kids. You shouldn't do that. You got women out here that are raggedy as hell. You shouldn't be a raggedy woman. Be a strong woman. Love your man. Learn the things that are going to make you successful and healthy and happy. And a lot of people aren't into that. They're just into nonsense. So anyway, so with Chrissy, the other point I'll make here is I'm gonna throw this in here that with Chrissy Teigen, I think that this whole social media depression thing, it's super super real. And also, it can feel real, like when you're online and you're getting into a Twitter fight or whatever. Because I've gone through that. I've gone through stuff like where I get in a Twitter fight with somebody and we're going back and forth, and it'll carry over into your regular life. Like you'll start feeling these emotions all day long when you're doing other things. And what I do to try to help me calm my mind on situations like that is I will have times where I have like a little detox where I'll just kind of walk away and I'll do something that matters, something that's relevant, right? And the relevant thing I might do might be to spend time with my daughter. If I spend time with my daughter, that's all that matters at that moment. That's real, right? Or just remembering, the other good things that are happening in your life that are not occurring on the internet. And I think that's really important because I think social media can be depressing for a lot of people, especially when you're trying to do something and you're not getting the attention that a Chrissy Teigen um, gets. She's got 35 million followers. She's probably made, $50 million on the internet or more, right? Everybody doesn't get to do that. I see a lot of people that start businesses and they go online and they post stuff and nobody replies. And that's just fucking sad sometimes, and I encourage anybody who's feeling that way to find something that reminds you of all the reasons that you have in the world to be happy. When I was in high school, I used to have an issue with depression as a kid, and depression, self-esteem, everything, and I learned that my way to fight out of that was about 19 years old. I learned that I could be very conscious. Remember that word conscious is very important for everything you want to do. Anything you want to be better at, you becoming aware and conscious of it is that first step. So I started becoming conscious of monitoring my mood. I became conscious of, being a relentless optimist. So to this day, in almost every situation that I look at, I confront it by saying I am determined to be optimistic, and also I'm determined to keep going, right? And if you have those sort of basic tenets in your life, there's nothing that can really stop you. Like, you really can't cancel somebody who's um, determined and committed to a mission, especially if the mission is bigger than themselves and they've taken their ego out of the mix. A lot of the fighting and everything else is ego. It's like, oh, you done diss me, I'm going to get you back or whatever. And I encourage you to kind of let some of that go and find something bigger than yourself. They call it self-actualization in psychology. Actually, find something that self-actualizes you, so that when you do run into a situation where you feel insulted or somebody's being mean to you or whatever, you can kind of move past that. And also be thoughtful about the things you say to and about other people online. I know it seems fun and it's like a fun game, but this stuff has real implications on people's lives. So anyway, I'm gonna read some of your comments here. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. And by the way, we have a book club now that meets every Wednesday night at 8:30. It's totally free. And you also get free access to my life class. My life class, it's the cost was $1,000 for a lifetime membership, but actually we made it free. And you also get access to the book club. We're reading Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. And I do lectures on different sections of the book. And so you can join the book club totally free by going to blackkeystogreatness.com. It's part of the Black Business School. And we have 140,000 students worldwide. And 95% of our students don't pay more than $500, but a lot of them, in fact, get a lot of things for free. So if you don't have any money, don't let money stop you. Come give it a try, and I think you're gonna love it. And we don't want to, we're building a business, so in order to expand, we need revenue, in different ways, but there's no pressure there. So just try it out, and if you love it, we would like your support. But if you don't love it, then obviously not. But everyone loves it. So feel free to go to blackkeystogreatness.com. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Please hit the thumbs up button. Christine says, I have both books. Yeah, everybody should have Dr. Claude Anderson's books for sure. Brielle says, I know your name, Brielle. I see you all the time. I remember when Chrissy tweeted about the B girl being arrogant because she put her arms up like this at an award show. Did she? Yeah. I think that Chrissy, it seems like what she's feeling is kind of getting a taste of her own medicine, because she was kind of the leader of cancel culture. And so I think that if you value cancel culture that much, then it probably hurts that much more when it happens to you. Cancel culture never bothered me because I thought it was fucking stupid from the beginning. I've just never, it just, when people act like they were canceling me, I'm like, what are you canceling? How about I cancel you? I went in, I'm telling you, last time I got it really attacked, I went in and we banned like 1,000 people. I was like, no, you're not canceling shit over here. Like, you ain't stopping this revolution. Like, the B1 revolution cannot be stopped. It can't, niggatry has no power here. So how about instead of you canceling me, how about I cancel you? So don't be in here talking crazy before you get canceled for life. I'll cancel your ass. You ain't canceling nothing over here. Let me see. Marlon says the Black Stock Market class is excellent. Dr. Boyce helped change my view on stock investing. Yeah, man. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this, but here's something everybody should know. Go tell a relative. This is how you can make a difference in the world. Do you know that stock market investing is the number one wealth driver in America? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that I've studied the research. Remember, I'm not a guy yapping on the internet about stuff I don't know anything about. I have a PhD in this stuff. I have studied over 100 years of stock market data. And I'm telling you, the stock market is the number one factor that drives wealth in the United States. That is the number one way that people go from poor to rich. The way they go from poor to middle class is home ownership. That's why I'm a big believer in home ownership. That's why I fight against the student loan crisis, and telling black folks, like, don't be borrowing $300,000 trying to go to some white man's university unless you are sure you can repay that debt. Because if you default on that loan, it might stop you from actually becoming a homeowner, which is going to cripple your ability to build wealth. Right? That's like you running the 100-meter dash at the Olympics and they cut your leg off. You ain't gonna win the 100-meter dash with one leg. You can't hop your way to a gold medal. So some of y'all trying to hop and hobble your way to a gold medal. You can't do that. So don't let them chop your leg off before the race begins. So with student loan debt, I got a 17-year-old about to go to college, and we picked the University of Louisville because we wanted it to not cost that much. Now, mind you, we can afford all the schools. I got money. His mama got money. His biological daddy got money. But he's my son too, so he's lucky. He's got two dads that love him to death. And when he gets out of line, we do something that a lot of these boys don't get. You know, when he was getting out of line, getting lazy or whatever, me and his daddy sat him in the car. I text his dad. I said, "Hey, he needs his father on this. We need to talk." So we put him in the car, and it was like an episode of Goodfellas. I was sitting in the back seat like Joe Pesci, and he was sitting in the front seat like Robert De Niro, and he was surrounded by two solid ass grown ass men who told him to set his shit straight. You need to set yourself straight. Here's what a man's supposed to do. That's not how a man behaves. That's how he learned manhood. And the reason you have a lot of men in the community that never become men, that become like 40-year-old children, is because they never had that. Their mothers spoiled them their whole life. Their mother, they've always had somebody covering for them. You know, you go make 3 babies, your mama's paying the child support and bailing you out of jail and sending you rent money and all this other stuff. Because mamas love their babies, mothers naturally coddle, and that's okay. But that's not good for a man. So ultimately, with him, he's going to college, and we all have money. All of us are responsible wealth builders. All of us could afford tuition to any university in the country, but we send him to a school where the cost was not prohibitive. We were like, look, if you go to college and you study your ass off, you're gonna get a good education almost anywhere. It's not the quality of the university that always drives everything. Believe me, I have a PhD, right? So one of the things about professors that you don't know is when they measure a Harvard professor versus a professor at the University of Tennessee, the difference is in the quality of their research. The Harvard professor is the guy who can publish high level research in the top journals. The guy at the University of Tennessee publishes research in a journal that's not as high level. But all them motherfuckers can go teach, economics 101. Like anybody can teach, introduction to biology. You don't need a PhD to teach introduction to. So what my point is that the Harvard professor isn't necessarily giving you more than the professor at the University of Tennessee. The only difference about Harvard, though, is that because the quality of your classmates is higher, that's going to push you a little bit harder. But if you're a student who sits and studies 6-7 hours a day versus somebody who doesn't study at all, then you're going to learn more. And it doesn't matter what school you go to. And if you go to a great school and you're not studying, you're not going to learn just because you're there. So I think everybody should kind of understand little things like that. And anyway, let me get back to answering your questions, because you guys know how I am. I just do streams of consciousness, and next thing you know, we're all over the place. And then people who aren't familiar with the platform will be like, "Get to the point. Can you get back to Chrissy?" Yeah, this is bigger than Chrissy. We already talked about Chrissy. Let me see. Marva says, "Yes, Dr. Boyce. I wonder how John feels now. Just like when he dogged Michael Jackson. John Legend. Yeah, John, I don't know if John Legend's a smart guy though, actually. I just don't know much about him personally. I never met him though. Danielle, that's great and mature parenting. Yeah, that's a little tip I would give anybody, is that if you have a blended family, and most black families are blended, so all this stuff that, where some of the men are saying you should never marry a woman with kids, they're just talking. Like a lot of those dudes, they meet some nice woman who drops it on them, and if she sets high standards, they'll straighten up. Like that sort of talk, that's just bravado, right? But that's not gonna hold in every situation. But in most black families that are blended, it's very important that you evaluate the quality of the situation that you're going into. So if you date someone that does have kids, a male or female, the how well behaved the kids are is very important. I would never move into the house of or work with a woman, or date a woman, or marry a woman if her son is an asshole, or if her kids are just spoiled, and she doesn't let me discipline the kids, right? Also, if you look at the baby mama, baby daddy stuff, if ladies, like if you get with a man and he's got two crazy babies mamas, that's going to be a headache for you. That's going to be a problem for you for a couple of reasons. One, because a lot of people will talk about the limitations of being with a woman with children, but nobody talks about the challenges of being with a man with children. Like, it's challenges both ways. It's extra variables. I'm a mathematician. I see variables, right? Like a big equation, right? So every new person that's in your relationship is another variable, and some variables are stable. These are real mathematical terms. Some variables are stable. Some variables are volatile. So if you're getting with somebody who's got a baby's mama or a baby daddy who is insane, like let's say somebody on drugs who might pop in the house and kill everybody, that's a factor you have to consider. Like, your relationship isn't just between you two. You are moving into a situation, right? And so one of the factors that played a part in my decision to marry Alicia was, the fact that the children's father is a great dude. Like, he's the type of guy whose ego isn't so out of whack that he can't get on the phone with the man who's in the house with his children and say, how do we solve this problem together? Whereas you might have some people, because they're so immature, or maybe he's mad because he really wants the woman to still be with him or whatever, that he completely disrupts and undermines everything that's happening in the household. And the people that lose are always the kids. Like, when adults act stupid, the kids always lose. When the men are not responsible, the children lose. When the women choose badly, the children lose. And I can tell you, one of the reasons I'm adamant about the fact that you have to walk away from some of this chaotic culture, because we have a destructive culture. We have a culture that doesn't breed family anymore. This was all done by the white supremacy when they put the crack era in our community and all that. But the reason I tell you to walk away from this culture is because many of our kids are traumatized because their fathers are not stepping up the way they should, and their mothers are bringing like rodents into the fucking house. Like, you're bringing men into the lives of your kids that are not worthy of being there. I made a statement today that was very interesting in terms of the reactions I saw. So I made a statement where I said, I said, ladies, you might want to not necessarily overlook the guy who adores you. I say, you deserve a man who loves the shit out of you. And I thought the reactions were interesting, because one thing I saw a lot of women saying, amen, that's right, and that's what I expected, that, right? Because that is a statement that's probably more empowering to women than men. But what was interesting to me was when I saw men saying, women don't want to be with a man who's a simp. I saw another guy say, that's simp talk, and all this other stuff. And I thought that was really interesting. And I said, well, actually, a simp isn't a man who loves a woman. Loving a woman doesn't make you a simp. I said, actually, a simp to me is a guy who pretends to be hard on the outside because deep down he's so damaged and scared that he is afraid of being vulnerable to a woman. He knows that vulnerability is dangerous for him. He knows that if he gets hurt like the last woman hurt him, or like his mother hurt him, he can't come back from that. Right. And so a lot of times, the strength in a man to me is measured by your ability to be vulnerable, like knowing, like, okay, if I take a hit, can I keep ticking? And that's the thing, right? Being strong doesn't mean you're winning all the time. It doesn't mean you always make the right choice. It doesn't mean you always end up in the best situation. It doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to you. Strength to me means that you go in and you take chances, knowing that shit might not work out, knowing that everything could blow up in your face, knowing that you could end up feeling like a complete fool, but you know how to get up. The strongest people I know in the world are people that know how to get up, right? So the question you have to ask yourself, in my view, is not, can things go wrong? Believe me, let me just tell you, things can go wrong. They will go wrong. Things will never stop going wrong. You'll never stop making mistakes. You'll never stop being disappointed. It's going to happen in life. But if you really want to know the secret to being strong, is ask yourself that question: can I get up? If you learn how to get up every time you get knocked down, then you have no fear. Like, I get up every day and I do things and I take chances because I don't have fear that I won't be able to get up if I get knocked down. Right. So ultimately, I would just say to you, when you're talking about, since we got on this topic of relationships or whatever, I would really I stick to that point for sure. I believe that the reason that women claim to want, like, men, I saw a book, men and women both do this. We both do this, especially when we're younger. There's a book called Why Men Love Bitches. And in this book, this lady explains that men only like women who play hard to get, who treat them like shit, who take all their money, you know, the raggedy gold digger, who whatever, right? And a lot of that's driven. Typically, immature men are the ones who fall for that, right? Because maybe if you look good and you carry yourself a certain way, he feels like getting that woman is a status symbol, like you're a challenge, so I want the challenge so that I can say I accomplished the challenge. Well, a lot of that's built on insecurity, and let me tell you why. It's built on insecurity because an insecure person is, because they're not sure of who they are, they still need those challenges to validate who they are, right? Like if I overcome this challenge, that means that I can be a successful person. If I bag this woman, that makes me a better man, right? If I get that hot girl, you know, who wants the Louis Vuitton and all the dudes are looking at her, then I can show her off to other men and they'll respect me because of the woman that's next to me, right? Like that's really, I'm not gonna say it's an insecurity thing. It's more like an immaturity thing. It's like a sign to me that you haven't fully evolved and you haven't accomplished a lot in your life. So when you accomplish that, like, look, I bagged this woman, I overcame this challenge. I am somebody now, right? But what happens, I think, is that once you've accomplished a couple of things, like once you kind of got that out of your system, this idea that like I want to do hard things just so I can prove myself to myself, you get to the point where you're like, I really don't think I want a woman who's gonna drag me through the motherfucking mud. Right? Like, I don't think I really want the woman who's gonna be mean to me. I don't want to date a bitch. Like, I want a nice lady. Like, I want a woman who's gonna smile at me and treat me well and respect me and be kind to me and everything else. And that's more of a grown. That's more for grown folks. Like, that's what a grown-up relationship looks like. Because process this for a minute. Process this. Why in the world? Pay attention now. Why in the world would you want to sleep next to somebody who treats you like crap? Like, what in the world? What sick, fucked up shit had to happen to you as a child that makes you think that you should trust your heart, your soul, your money, and your life to a person who don't even like or respect you? Are you kidding me right now? Does that make any kind of sense? Give me a yes or no if you follow what I'm saying. Somebody please tell me that somebody gets what I'm saying. This is simple, but it's not that common, right? In terms of people kind of getting this, right? Like I never wanted the woman that was hard to get. I wanted the woman who loved me. You know, and so as I saw people how they were processing my marriage to Alicia, and making things up like, oh, look, she played him and made him da 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 da. And I'm sitting here like, first of all, these people don't even know me, like, so they literally know nothing. They're literally reflecting their own insecurities in terms of how they're even processing what's happening in front of them. And I'm sitting here laughing and thinking, they don't even understand. If I didn't know that this woman loved the shit out of me, I got better things to do with my life. There's other fish in the sea. Like, if she was a bitch, she would get zero interest from me because I don't date bitches. I don't want to be around. No, don't be an asshole to me just to somehow make me want you more, because being an asshole to me is going to make me want you less. But then again, though, there's a maturity that comes with that. Maybe 25 years ago, I might have been a different guy. And sometimes you got to kiss some frogs to learn how to look for a real princess. Right. And I think the same thing for women. Like, ladies, I know, I get it. Right. You want confidence in a man and you want a man to be strong. All that's good. But what in the world makes you think a man isn't a good catch or a quality catch or a strong catch just because he's nice to you? I mean, I want you to think about this. I had a friend one time who had two dudes that were chasing her at the same time. One guy was an ugly little creepy looking dude with a small penis. I know he had a small penis because she told me this, right? And because I assumed that the reason she was acting so stupid was because I said, "Oh, the sex must be good." She said, "No, the sex is terrible." I said, "So wait, so you're telling me that this guy, check this out. So this ugly, creepy little dude with a small penis was literally crapping all over her, treating her like complete shit. I mean, just really like disrespecting her every chance he got, and she's crying and begging him to come back or whatever." She had another guy who was, you know, I don't know. I mean, no homo, but he seemed like a better looking dude, but he also was, he was smart. He was nice. He adored the shit. Like, he really adored the hell out of her. He really thought that she was, like, God's gift to everything. Right. Like, so he was barking up the wrong tree because he was really like laying it on thick, like, hey, why don't you date me? And da 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 da. Right. And so she ends up like, humiliating herself, making herself look stupid, begging and crying. This ugly little rodent with a small penis, to be with her while she's got this other guy, like who seemed like a great. And I asked her, I said, "What's wrong with him? Like, can you tell me what's wrong with him?" And she's like, "I don't know. I just don't like him." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Can you explain that?" She said, "Well, he's just I don't he's just too nice." Like she was saying that he was too nice, and I met the guy. He didn't seem like a bad person. He seemed like just a guy who believed in being nice to women, right? And so check this out. So she calls her mother. She's bawling and crying because the little rodent with the small penis, basically tells her like, get out of my face and I don't want to talk to you anymore, whatever. And literally her mother said to her something that I thought was accurate. Her mother said, "You are sick in the head." She said, "Do not talk to me." She said, "You mean to tell me that you got this other guy over here who is perfect in every way, who would be a perfect catch for you, and you're wasting that time to go chase this man who doesn't even like you?" She said, "Don't even call me back until you go see a therapist because you're messed up in the head." And I'm gonna give you my armchair Uncle Boyce theory. This is not based on any sort of science, but it's my armchair Uncle Boyce theory. I believe that a lot of this weird behavior that we do isn't just about immaturity. I think some of it also comes down to the missing daddy, the missing daddy. And why do I say that? Well, um, I believe that a girl who not only didn't have a father, but also never got validation from men, like never knew the idea of a man like being nice to her without trying to get some ass or whatever, right? Might have sort of these holes and voids in her spirit that lead her to be attracted to the wrong men. Maybe she's watching TV and she, like this woman, actually, she had a fascination with like thug rappers, right? Like she really thought thug rappers were very sexy or whatever, right? And it's fine. I mean, it's cool to think that's sexy, but these guys don't make the best husbands. They don't make the best fathers, right? They got diseases and they get killed. They die young. They they kill other people. They'll choke you and beat your ass if you try to leave them. They're not the best spouses, right? But she thought that was appealing. I would really wonder if there's something that happens when the father's not there to constantly validate the young lady and let her know what her standards should be, that can cause her to kind of accept just any old thing from any old man, especially a man who's disrespectful, right? And then I think for where the missing daddy I think affects a lot of boys is when a boy never learns how to be a man and he never gets like what I saw was from my father was I saw an example of a very strong, fearless, completely masculine man. He was an alpha in every way. He was a high level police commander who's murdered people, not murdered, killed people. He's had to kill people. He doesn't murder anybody, but maybe he has murdered somebody. If he did, he wouldn't tell me because he doesn't do that. But if I saw him completely submit to my mother, I saw him with my mother in a state that he reserved only for her, right? A complete state of vulnerability that says, if your mother wants to do it, then we're going to do it, right? Like, so I saw those contrasts, right? But so if I hadn't seen that, maybe I would be listening to the most popular version of manhood that's being mass promoted to black men, which is the rapper, right? The 50 Cent. I'm a thug, fuck these hoes. I'm gonna go get, I'm gonna go sleep with a bunch of women. If you fall in love with a woman, that makes you a simp, right? And all this other nonsense that doesn't exist. And I personally think that that's what's driving some of the narrative, especially for anybody, say, in relationships under the age of like 30, right? It's kind of a shit show, right? And so what I would say is, since somebody asked me that question, and you guys know how I am, I'm going to answer it thoroughly. Is that when you're picking, I would really work on the self-esteem piece. I think self-esteem is a key element in all of this, right? Because if you have self-worth and self-esteem, you're not going to let anybody treat you any old kind of way because you value yourself, right? Like it's like, think about your car, right? If you value your car, you're not going to let anybody just get in your car and throw McDonald's wrappers on the floor and cut the seats open and get in the car stinking and tearing the car up, right? You're going to protect that car. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? But if you don't value the car, then you'll let them do anything they want to. They could pee in your car and you wouldn't care, right? And that's kind of what I think happens with us. I think when you have people that don't value themselves, they think it's okay to let anybody treat them in the old kind of way. And when you value yourself, you're like, no, I'm special. You're not going to treat me like that. I'm going to be very nice to you because I value you. And you're going to be very nice to me. And if you can't do that, then you need to get to stepping. You need to get out of my life. And so that's what I would encourage you to kind of consider. Think about that self-esteem piece, and really picking a partner is like picking a job. When you're young and inexperienced and trying to prove yourself, and your validation isn't there yet, sometimes you'll pick a job that's really hard because you're proud to have that job. Like I got a job, the opportunity to go work in the White House, and I get to tell my friends I work in the White House, even though they're overworking me, underpaying me, and treat me like complete shit. But you tolerate that because you like to tell your friends that you work at the White House, right? That's what you do when you're 25, trying to prove yourself. But then when you're about 40, 35 and up, and you've achieved some goals, you've been to the mountaintop and realized it ain't that great. You've been around maybe some famous people, powerful people, you've made a little bit of money, so your self-esteem's intact, you've been fully validated. Well, you pick jobs differently. When you're 40 and someone offers you a job, you don't care so much about being validated as much as you care about being respected and treated properly, right? So you'll say, I know this job would pay me, 200,000 a year, and it's a prestigious job, but it's stressful. It's going to take me away from my family, and it's going to make me unhappy. So I'm going to take the job where I'm going to make 30% less, that is going to have appropriate hours for the life I want to live, where I am valued by the company, and that's where I really want to be. So I think that choosing relationships are the same way. A lot of people I've seen will be in a horrible relationship dealing with intolerable nonsense. Also, they can maintain the front. Also, they get to tell their friends, I'm dating a rapper, or I'm dating a senator, or I look at the bad chick that I got next to me, right? And then you start figuring out like everything that glitters ain't gold. Everything that glitters ain't gold. And I think that's really, really important. Let me see here. Why do you keep saying you're smarter than everybody else? That's arrogance. It might be arrogance, Charles. You could be right. And maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I'm not saying I'm smarter than everybody else, but some people are stupid. When they're stupid, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like they're not stupid, because it would be dumb. It would be evil for me to lie to you. Let's see here. Some people do that until they die. Keep up with the Joneses. Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses is a great way to stress yourself out. So like, with Chrissy Teigen and her internet depression, I think a lot of that, she lost a baby.
She had a miscarriage, Boyce.
Did she? Oh wow. When did she have her miscarriage?
She had a miscarriage. I don't know, not too long ago, but that has to have been.
Oh, the miscarriage. Yeah, yeah. I bet that was a big deal.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to add in there is that
No,
she
that's
had a
important,
miscarriage,
and
and
that's
it's
worth
probably an
considering. Yeah,
issue. Yeah, I
that's
feel
worth
sorry
considering.
for her.
But she's kind of mean though. She's kind of bullied a lot of people on the internet.
Did you see the battle with Donald Trump?
Yeah,
That was funny. It
that
was
was.
funny though.
Yeah, but did you see where the guy said he was gonna kill himself because Chrissy Teigen ruined his life?
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
I'm certain. See, the thing is, she didn't mean it. I
Mm.
don't think she meant it. I think if she could take it back, she would. She
Well, I
doesn't
don't.
seem like a really evil person. She seemed like a pretty nice. I don't know. I don't know her as a person,
You
but
got to go look at some of her tweets. She's
her
been.
tweets are off the chain, though. They are
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
but that's the thing though. Like you say something's off the chain and you are attacking somebody,
Whew.
you might hurt somebody. Like you,
Yeah.
you might, sure, you get, all your likes and your hearts and your shares, but
Hmm.
you might really be hurting somebody, and I think
Yeah.
that people don't think about that.
No, they
And I
don't.
think it's interesting to see Chrissy Teigen on the other side of the same cancel culture that she promotes so much,
Hmm.
and maybe that'll make her more sensitive in terms of, like, sometimes I've seen people get, like, I don't know, I've seen people get canceled over stuff that they didn't even do. It wasn't even fair,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. There's a point where people don't want to hear what a person has to say, and I think that's
Well,
wrong.
the fact that she's depressed means she felt bad about it.
Mm,
And I'm certain if you have remorse, then that tells me that you're a good person. She probably didn't mean to. Because sometimes, like, thoughts will come to your head and then you just put it out there without a filter, without thinking about it, without sleeping on it. It's
mm,
just automatic. This is what I'm automatically thinking. I'm going to put it out there. And you're not even thinking about the consequences of the people on the receiving end and how that might affect
mhm.
them. So
Right.
I think that this is a good wake up call for all of us.
Yeah. Well, I think
Right.
that if you have a big platform, you should think carefully about everything you say. Like I think about everything. Like I don't think I've ever tweeted anything that I would take back because I
Hmm.
process it. I think about what I'm trying
Hmm.
to do. Like, and like I like to use my platform to educate people, black
Hmm.
people, and make them more aware and empower certain people, not everybody,
Hmm.
to live a better life. And I think about that when I'm tweeting. I'm like, okay, who's this going to affect, and why are you tweeting this? Is it just ego, or is it or are you pursuing a bigger cause?
you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you, even though you're seasoned at this, Boyce, like you've been at it for a long time, longer than most. And even you, I bet, from time to time can go, ooh, did I go too far? Ooh, sometimes even you may make a mistake, but it's okay. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you are a mistake.
Oh,
So
thank you.
let's be good to Chrissy Teigen.
Now, RB says, no, Dr. Alicia, Chrissy T has a long history of being a mean girl.
She is
And
mean.
then Pearlie says we need to look up her Pizzagate comments. A lot of people are
What do you
saying
mean
that
Pizzagate?
a lot of people are saying she made jokes about pedophilia. Now, with that, we don't play
She
with that
made
stuff.
jokes about it.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I was saying I want to look
I
that
mean,
up.
she's pretty funny. Like, you can kind of laugh at some of her stuff.
Did you know that she's not even black? She's Asian and white.
Yeah, I don't think that was a mystery.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. She said she's worried about her. This happened in 2020. She said, I'm worried about my family. She blocks 1 million Twitter accounts linking her to Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, a lot of
Ooh.
people are linked to Jeffrey Epstein who are in the business.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are. So it are that's not a big deal.
Yeah, they said that according to USA Today, let me know if you guys can still hear me. I'm on another screen. Give me a yes or no. It says that Chrissy Teigen, an outspoken mother of two who's no stranger to trolls, has resorted to blocking over 1 million accounts, propagating conspiracy theories linking the star to Jeffrey Epstein. Teigen has faced a barrage of scary harassment, she says, since the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell. Some social media users allege that Teigen once flew on Epstein's private jet. The cookbook author says she was accused of being a pedophile. So because she
Yeah, a
got on,
lot of people were going to Ida.
well,
What
you
is
know
it?
what?
Lolita Island. A lot
Yeah,
of people were flying on that. I mean, look at the manifest.
you know what it is though. That's the thing. That's why I tell people.
Presidents
But
were on
but that's
there.
why I tell people be careful about.
Congressman was
But
on that jet.
right, people trusted him because he was a billionaire. Right,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to be instant friends with a billionaire because they're thinking, "Oh, this billionaire could change my life," and you don't know what people are bringing into your life. You don't know what kind of drama they're bringing. So I bet a lot of people hung out with Epstein thinking,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's a billionaire who gave money to Harvard." So I get a chance to hang out with this rich guy who can donate to our foundation. He can give me a great job. He can, So
Weren't there people from the royal family that was
yeah,
on that jet?
yeah,
So please.
yeah. Let me see here. She denied the allegation. She said, "I've never met the man or been to the island or on a plane." And what else does it say? It says, despite many attempts to fight back, Teigen said the vicious Twitter campaign is so frightening that she's worried for my family and proceeded to delete thousands of tweets used by trolls as
Yeah.
alleged evidence of her involvement with the disgraced financier. I actually deleted 60,000 tweets because I cannot fucking stand you idiots anymore, and I'm worried about my family. She tweeted Tuesday.
See how funny she is? She's really funny.
Finding me talking about toddlers and tiaras in 2013 and thinking you're some sort of a fucking operative. A day later, Teigen resorted to blocking over 1 million users. She said she's contemplating legal action and is even considering leaving Twitter, where she has more than 13 million followers if the harassment continues. I have blockchained over 1 million people, 1 million people today, and I'm still flooded with sick psychopaths, she tweeted Wednesday. So please spare me with that. Just ignore them. They're just trolls. Ooh, damn.
See, that is she's even funny when she's talking about how
She
she's
says if
being
Twitter doesn't do something about this, actually scary harassment, I'm gonna have to go. I don't know. That comment speaks of like maybe she's doesn't have the mental like disposition.
1 million a day. Nobody has the mental condition
It's
to
in
hold
USA
up to
Today,
that.
Julie. That's where I read the article.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
tough one to hold up to. 1 million people are, and we don't even know if they're people. They're probably just computer generated. There's no people on
they're
the other
probably
end of
bots.
that.
They're probably
They're
bots.
bots.
And I'm
They're not
telling
even
you,
real people.
I'll say this. I can't. I don't know if I've never been in this place of a Chrissy Teigen, right? But one thing I can tell you is I think you can learn a lot from Ice Cube and how he handles all the trolls. When Ice Cube did his campaign, and I talked to him many times on the phone while he was challenging Joe Biden because the Democrats love to ignore black people, and he's getting all these crazy comments and lies in the media, whatever. I was impressed with the way he was just like,
Oh,
I don't give a fuck. Like he literally was just like basically like he would just make his tweet and go on about his day.
There's no like, oh, I'm gonna sit and read a million comments so I can get little shots of dopamine from people saying you go or way to go, man, that was awesome. He didn't do that. But then again, maybe that's just a difference, right? In terms of just how they made it. Ice Cube is not Chrissy Teigen, but I think people can learn from that.
Man, you survived the streets of Compton or wherever he's from.
That is so
this
true.
Ain't nothing.
That is so true. When you dealt with
like,
real stuff,
this?
yeah, when you deal with real stuff, Twitter trolls ain't nothing. Twitter trolls are just little keyboard gangsters. But
he's
when
like, y'all not even in my space. I'm
not...
chilling with my family.
yeah, and I was like, okay, because I remember checking when I was like, are you cool? You know, are you all right with dealing with all this, you know, this backlash? Because a lot of this stuff was they were using propaganda. They did that SNL skit where they deliberately pretended like he was a Trump supporter on the SNL skit, which really bothered me because that just shows you how deep they'll go with their lies to discredit somebody. And I'll be damned, he was just like, yeah.
But you know, we all forgot about it. People still love his 3-on-3. He still gets love.
Oh, we got corrected. Amari says,
what is
it? Ain't Compton, South Central.
Oh, South Central. Sorry, I don't know Los Angeles
remember,
that well.
Compton,
straight
out of Compton. Crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. So I don't think. So Compton ain't disconnected. And by the way, I love Compton, South Central, all that. I give like a couple speeches there every year, and the people there are so conscious and smart and intelligent and all that stuff. But anyway, enough about it.
I don't want no beef with Compton, boys.
Well, I mean, you don't want it.
But it's true, though. I mean, Compton's not how it used to be, but back in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, you know, Erica says Cube seemed more annoyed at the people not getting the message than the trolls. And I do agree with that. But I think that even in the middle of being annoyed, I think he knew, I want to say, I can't speak. I knew that a lot of people were getting the message. And that's why the trolls were so mad. That's why they were using so much propaganda, was because, you know, that whole campaign was very effective. It really heightened the consciousness of millions of black voters. And so now that Joe Biden has pretty much proven him right and hasn't done anything for black people, in the next election, a lot of people are going to look at things very differently. You can't do the same stupid ads you did.
He gave us Juneteenth, boys.
Joe Biden did? Yeah, yes, Lord. Yes, Uncle Joe. We must love Uncle Joe.
I'm being funny, though. I'm not being serious.
No, you're right.
People don't think.
I know you're being serious. I know you were joking.
Yeah.
I know you're being funny. But hey, guys, by the way, I'm going to get out of here. So it was fun hanging out with you today and just talking. We talked about everything. We started off with Chrissy Teigen, but I went around the world. You know how I do. But anyway, I hope it's all fun, and God bless you. And I'm gonna get back to my real life, and but you guys are part of my life too. And thank you to everybody who is part of the platform. Those of you who fit into this space. Just know you have a home with me, and I love you, and I wish you all the very best. So take care, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up button on the way out. And Wednesday is when our book club meets. So if you'd like to join for free, go to blackkeystogreatness.com. The URL is right there on the screen, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.